So until you start thinking about your notes like this, and I might as well just send you a video because I can't explain it any other way, you will end up failing. Because there's no way for you to look over all the facts and kind of consume it that way. So let's take an example. So we have renal failure, right? You have renal failure. What do the kidneys do? What the heck do they do? So kidneys filtrate fluid to maintain proper body hematology / osmolality. Now, what the hell does that mean? So they will give you just bold statements like this, and it'd be like, all right, next slide. No. Until you look at a fact and understand with 100% confidence that you understand every aspect of this, you cannot move on. So, what is hematology? Let's look. Let's do blood stasis. I don't think I have a lot of, or blood homeostasis. I don't really have a lot of stuff on my phone. I understand that broad statement, but like, Google what hematology is and make it make sense to you. Osmolality. Osmoles, isn't that what they're called? In blood. And this is basically, I would say hematology is more active transport, meaning we're dealing with ions, we're dealing with protein, we're dealing with electrolytes. Osmoles, osmolality, we're dealing with just flow and basic kind of back and forth chemistry, passive transport. Okay, so look at a simple statement, break it down until you understand, you then can't move on. So now I understand. All right, well, this is what they do. Now, let's say they hit you with these are the signs and symptoms of renal failure. And they want you to remember 5 bullet points, and we're just going to move on to the next slide. That's rude because you don't quite understand anything. So, let's say, what are the signs and symptoms? So, let's say fluid retention. Fluid retention. Now, so depending on why you're going into renal failure, you would have to understand completely why you are maintaining fluid, right? So before you move on to the next sign and symptom, we're going to just dissect fluid retention. So why might you have issues with fluid retention before we move on? Now, let's say that we have an acute kidney injury and you cannot filtrate. You lost your ability to filtrate. You are now retaining all of the aspects of active transport, and now it's messing up your passive transport. So because your electrolytes, your osmolality, your everything's out of whack in the sense that you're retaining. So because I understand this fully, I now can say, well, signs and symptoms, we're going to see fluid retention, but that's not what the NCLEX question is. You're going to say increased blood pressure. You're going to say, let me see, it would be increased carb pressure, increased respiratory rate, increased heart rate. What else can you see? Any signs of sepsis, fever, So right now, this is the question. Well, look at how much we had to understand just to get to you being able to think that way. Let's try just one more. So we have signs and symptoms of renal failure. What's another one? I don't know why I'm blanking because I just said all of them. I'm trying to think of a really complicated NCLEX question where so you're like, what the heck? I don't know why I'm blanking. Ooh, how about this? Neural dysfunction. Neural dysfunction. Why? Why might you be in an altered state? And you're going to see that. You're going to see what are the symptoms. It's going to be select all the apply, high blood pressure, increased respiratory rate, and then you're going to see this odd one. And you're going to be stuck between this one and another one. So we have neural dysfunction, or in other words, altered state. So why might that be? And we go back, because if you go back to the electrolytes, can't get rid of sodium, then your brain is fucked. So they'll hit you with the, what do you, and then they'll even go deeper with the NCLEX questions. So they're going to be like, what will you see? So 160/80. Well, we know that, high blood pressure. We're going to see cognitive dysfunction. Spelled that all wrong. And then you're like, what? How does that make sense? So I know this seems haphazard. And if you need help studying, I don't mind helping you study. I thoroughly need a review anyway. But until you can think like this, you're not going to get those annoying detailed questions right. Because they're telling you the broadness of fluid retention, neural dysfunction, cardiac symptoms. And you're like, well, what the hell? Why are you going all the way deep into the question with 160/80? I thought we were supposed to know this. So you really just want to think that way. And, or you will fail. Because the PowerPoints are as broad as this, but the questions are as deep as this. And unless you understand how you can get here to here, it ain't going to work.